Yeah, this is Jimmy Flame, and you're listening to Let's Find Out with co-host Diego.
Are you curious about the unknown, the unexplainable? Do you find yourself intrigued by the mysterious and paranormal side of our world? Join us on an adventure into the world of inexplicable discoveries and investigations that may someday give us the final answer as to what may be behind the veil of reality. The borders of space and time have opened once again, and transmitting from the mountains of West Virginia, it's time once again for Let's Find Out with Diego. The universe is waiting for you.
The borders of space and time have opened once again and transmitting from the mountains of West Virginia. It's another episode of Let's Find Out with Diego. Thank you for taking this journey with me. On this episode of Let's Find Out, model, actress, and director. Our guest will soon bring you a new shocking film, The Sabilla Six, a true crime horror that will entertain and also be a warning to the potential dangers of online dating, chat rooms, and the hazardous world of the internet. Not only is the Sabilla Six in the works, just remember, all this plus more. Please welcome to Let's Find Out a good friend and supporter of the show, Shannon Atkins. Shannon, my friend, welcome to Let's Find Out. Thank you for coming on.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where we met not long ago over at the Snarly Owl's Christmas with Krampus in Charlestown, West Virginia. You stopped by the booth and we struck up a conversation. Shazam, you're here. And just as the post that you had is that you're the right kind of weird for this show. So I appreciate you coming on. And great conversations that we had. We're talking about the release of some of the films, and you had some of your gang was there with you. All very nice. So let's get to the beginning of this, because I know we're going to talk about the Sabilla Six. Very interesting. I think it's a very important subject to cover with how your career started, because as I look at the bio, you really haven't been doing this that long, but you started as a model and brand ambassador. So how did that start?
So the modeling actually was like a fluke. I was on the phone with a friend of mine one night, Danny, and this thing came across for Jet Set magazine. And as a joke, he's like, you should enter that. And I was like, no, there's no way. And I did. I entered it and I made it all the way up to the top 5. And I was like, maybe this is really something that I can do. So then I just started branching out. I reached out to a friend, Matt Anderson, who was my first photographer. He put together my headshots and I got a portfolio together. And then I just started submitting it to everyone that I could. And I became a brand ambassador for a company called Throttle Addict. And that was a lot of fun. It's a biker apparel company for motorcycles, and the photo shoots were beyond fun and just trying to promote the clothing. And of course I got so much free clothing. So that was just, a big plus.
Yeah, and it's one of those things too, and I can understand back when I was in the entertainment industry myself, when it comes to the photo shoots, those things could be long days. How did you prepare for those photo shoots?
Lots of coffee. The photo shoots, the photo shoots are extremely long. Throttle Addict was going to do an article on me, and I had to get a photo shoot done. And I reached out to a friend, Antonia Calathis, and it was about a 9-hour day on a photo shoot in the freezing cold in the middle of a park, of just changing into random outfits and clothing. And it was such a long day.
Which in a way kind of prepared you for the world of acting, because those are long days, and directing too. Shortly after that, with the modeling, you got into the acting, you got some parts. So what was the first part that you auditioned for and you got?
So the first part that I got, I didn't even audition for. I had thought about getting into acting, and then I kind of like put it off to the side, and I was like, I don't know if I'm ready to do that. But with modeling and being a brand ambassador, I really enjoyed being in front of the camera. So I had considered acting. And then I had met Matt Burns, who is the producer for my film, The Sabilla Six. And he reached out to me one day and he was like, how would you like to be a zombie? And I was like, who doesn't want to be a zombie? So I go and I was a zombie for Wesley Spengler's film Zero. And it was just so much fun.
And speaking of preparing, so we're talking Megan, we're talking about zombies. How long did it take you to get that stuff on? And not only on, but take that off?
Okay, so putting it on and taking it off is two totally different things. Getting put into the zombie makeup, I say took each one of us about 45 minutes. It wasn't really long, but taking it off is a whole nother story. Especially when they put all kinds of stuff. Like there was Vaseline in my hair to make my hair look crazy. And I'd never had Vaseline in my hair before. And I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And it was hours. It literally took me hours to get that out of my hair.
What did you use to get it off? I mean, just regular warm water or cold water makes it worse.
No, you had to use hot water, like really hot water, and shampoo. But I found that the only shampoo that I could use was my son's like men's shampoo. My shampoo just wasn't doing it.
No, men's shampoo has 12 different kind of things it can be. It could be a face wash, it could be a beard wash, it could be a car wash. It'll take anything
right?
off, honestly. But it smells very nice. So shortly after that, so you moved on to other things. And now we're talking about directing, because now you're going from modeling, acting, and directing, a whole different thing as well. Giving people directions and asking them to do what you need them to do. But you also act in the movies you direct as well, right?
So this is the first movie that I'm directing, and I am acting in it as well. And I will tell you, never again.
Oh, okay.
It's so much fun, don't get me wrong, but it is so much work. And my friends had even reached out to me that have so much more experience in, like Amanda Megan and Matt Burns. And they're like, are you sure you want to act and direct in it? Like direct and act in it. But I wanted to do both because, as we had talked about, the movie is really personal to me. So I felt like I needed to be in it.
That's one of the things that stuck out to me the most. And I'll give you a quick background, because if we're talking in the world of online dating, and there was a time where I was also on those apps and dating before I met my wife, of course. And I can only imagine how it is on the lady side, but I'll tell you, on the guy side, sometimes it's just as weird, because you get a lot of these weird messages, and then the nonstop pinging every once in a while. You're like, who is this person? Sometimes this can't be this person on this profile, because it's just a little too weird for it.
Yeah.
And I hate to bring this subject up because Sabilla Six covers this, and as I read in your bio that you have a maybe some negative experiences with these apps.
I do have some negative experiences with a dating app, but I have negative experiences with social media as a whole.
Oh, okay.
As much fun and as much it has helped me, it has also been negative as well. And I didn't realize how much of our lives are really put out there, and the extents that people will go to try to find you.
I understand that. Now, is it from people who are maybe they're jealous of what it is that you do? Is it a rival director or movie company that's causing this ruckus?
No, I'm talking about guys, just guys. I've been followed. I've been followed. My cousin and I went to see a band last year, and I tagged her in it, and I didn't even say that I was going to see this band. I was trying to promote the show, and we were followed. The guy just, he was like, I'm just going to take a chance, and I'm going to show up and see if she's there. And it was a pretty scary night.
No, I could imagine. Because unfortunately, guys can be creepy online, and it kind of goes the same way with on my side of the table as well, especially those who are involved in somehow any type of entertainment industry. It just seems that you have the super fans, and then you have the people who just hate it, find a way to hate on something, and then take it to the next level to stalking or instant messaging you for hundreds of messages at a time. Sometimes you got to block them, and sometimes you have to disappear for a little while from social media. which brings us to Sabilla Six, which, as I said earlier, is a very important film, I think. A cautionary tale of sorts. Can you give us a little background on the Sabilla Six?
Well, without trying to give any spoilers,
Right. No
like I said, the
spoilers.
Sabilla Six is a personal film to me. And I know I have lots of friends that can relate to this as well. But the Sabilla Six is almost like a urbanized Strangeland, D. Schneider's Strangeland. I don't know if you've ever seen that film, but
I saw it in the theater when it came out.
okay, so very comparable. Very comparable. Yeah, it is about, these girls, everybody's on this dating app, because everybody wants to find love, of course. But it is it literally goes into the dangers of it. The dangers of if you don't want to date this person, the way that they react to you, the way that they do react if you do want to go out on a date with them. And then the horrors that follow up with it, especially if you reject somebody.
Yeah, normally that can go either way. It can be okay, we're good, or it can just bubble up inside that person and a few days later shows up in a very negative way. Who are some of the standout characters in the film so far?
So I'm the lead. I'm the female lead. I play Carrie Myers, and then I have Russell Sage Patrick, who is the sheriff, and then I've got John Bowling, who is my deputy. They, so far for what we filmed, they have just blown me away. They're absolutely amazing. And then I've got Jesse Green. Everybody knows Jesse Green. He is, the grumpy old man in the neighborhood, and he did fantastic. He did fantastic. And I have Matt Burns, who's not only my producer, but he's playing the asshole, mailman as well. And then I've got a phenomenal cast of females that are going to be playing the Sabilla Six. I've got Shonda Rawlings and Amanda Megan, Nikki Jewell, Julia Swinson, and Brandy Lynn Dalton.
And judging from the promo picture you sent me of the film's poster, it looks really good. Who designed that?
Sean Burkett. He does a lot of the posters for our movies. He designed the one for Blood and Breakfast as well. And
that brings me to something we're going to talk about a little bit later, Blood and Breakfast. But so Sabilla Six is slated to maybe come out sometime later this year. And if you could go back in time to when you were first interested in horror movies or suspense kind of movies, what's some of the influences that goes behind making your films?
So when I think back on time, I got into horror movies because of my grandmother. I would sit down and watch all the old classics with her. The first movie I ever watched was the Nosferatu, and it just stuck with me. And then we would watch when Cassandra Peterson, Elvira, would do the horror shows and stuff, and I would sit and I would watch, and I'd be like, I want to do that one day. This is what I want to do. I thought it was just the coolest thing.
Yeah, and back in my day, the Elvira, Count Gore Duvall was one of them as well. And I think later in my teens, Joe Bob Briggs, he used to do the I forgot what it was called, but I used to love these shows where you had the host and then they introduced some of the classic horror movies.
Yes.
And for me, it was, and I grew up in the days of The Exorcist and all the kind of things like that, early Friday the 13th. But the one that really got me, and by today's standards, I think it still holds up, is Evil Dead with Bruce Campbell. Because that one
fantastic.
Is a hell of a movie.
Fantastic movie.
And I even love Army of the Dead. I don't care what anybody says. That's awesome too.
Army of Darkness? Yeah.
Army of Darkness. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I should know his movies. Shame on me. And I moved on down the line. Let's move on from there. So how much of that influence goes into what will be your potential, your writing style, not only for Sabilla Six, but for the next movies you may be doing?
So a lot of horror movies go into, I would think, my inspiration. Definitely, March is coming up, which is Women in Horror Month. And I think that's a huge, huge deal because I don't think we talk about women in horror enough. I think we focus more on the killer, the killer in the film or, the other aspects, and not the fact that, it's a final girl. It's not a final guy. It's always a final girl.
Right. And when you're saying that, because we're talking about there's not that many numbers of female directors out there, and you're looking to, I guess, break that mold and raise that glass ceiling. So is that something you're looking to be to carry that torch, to do something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I have realized I really enjoy directing. I think I enjoy directing a lot more than I enjoy acting.
Interesting. What is the main differences? I know the main differences, but what is it about it that you enjoy doing more than the acting itself?
Well, because with directing, even though you already have a script that's written and you have that byline in front of you, with directing, you can still change it up. You're still changing the story. Every single time you go on set, every time you're filming, it's still a new story that you're creating. At least it is for me.
It's one of those things where with acting, and I think it takes a talent that not many people can have, but memorizing the lines and where you have to stand and do all these things. How does one kind of develop that skill?
Lots and lots of reading, lots and lots of practice. I go over my lines probably more than a lot of people. A lot of people can wing it. They can show up and just have the script. There's always somebody on set. We have script supervisors, um, and they can wing it. They can just be like, okay, we're going to do about this much, and then we'll cut, and then we'll do this much. I memorize my lines. I go through every single thing, and I've always memorized my lines. I haven't ever shown up on set and not known my lines.
A true professional. That's why. Moving on to the other film, you brought up the subject Blood and Breakfast.
I'm so excited to see the final outcome for Blood and Breakfast. It's a Mark Byrne film, and then Matt Burns is also on that. And it's just the cast alone. Like, I just keep seeing people get added every single day of who we're bringing in for cast members, and there's some big names. Like we've got Nancy Ann Ritter, who's one of the original girls in the bathroom from Scream. You know, we've got Beatrice Bubble. She plays Mrs. Krueger on Freddy. You know, she plays the mother. It's just we've got some large names added to this, and I think it's going to be a fantastic movie. I do have a scene in it, and with Amanda Megan, and we had so much fun. Like, it was so much fun to do that scene.
So was it one of those things where? Let me rephrase the question, because if you have some pretty hot players on there in your movie, and I mean that from a professional level, not in the way people think. How would they contact? Is something that they come up to you that we love what you're doing, want to be part of your film, or did you reach out to them?
I think Mark Burns and Matt Burns had reached out to them. I know that they've done a couple of other films, like indie films, um, especially Nancy Ann Ritter. She's done quite a few for the indie community, but I think they get in touch with her. I have not been able to get in touch with people like that. I have not got to that point yet. When I did the Sabilla Six, I already knew who I wanted. My cast was already like, I already had my cast planned out before the script was even written.
And when you started writing the script for Sabilla Six, it comes from a personal experience. So let's say a young director is out there and they have this thing where they're just starting out. And how does one get their ideas put together and put something in the script where it makes sense?
So I have a writer for the Sabilla Six, Todd Martin, because I cannot write a script. I can write a book. I can write a song, but I cannot write a script. There is a lot that goes into writing a script. And as much as I wrote everything down on paper, it didn't make sense. Not like it did, like it does in a script. So Todd Martin and I worked very, very closely together, like very closely, and Matt Burns as well. And I submitted him like all my ideas. I submitted like experiences and everything. And he just worked his magic and made it all happen.
And I think magic will happen, because I'm looking at a lot of the responses and a lot of the shares on socials for these projects, and is actually, it looks like it's catching fire.
Yeah, the Sabilla Six blew up. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I was just like amazed at how much attention that it has gotten. Like me and a couple of the cast members have talked extensively, like back and forth, and they're like, you need to be proud for a first-time filmmaker and first-time movie. Like, this is huge right now. And I'm beyond excited. It's a little overwhelming because I feel like I don't want to let anybody down, but I don't think we're going to. The cast and crew alone, this is going to be a great movie. And like I said, a lot of people are going to be able to relate to it.
And I think that's probably why, because I tend to think it's because of the subject matter, because it's something different. It's something a little more personal. I think that kind of tends to get more into the heart of the fans.
Oh, absolutely.
So with that being said, and I know we talked about the personal experiences. If you don't mind the question, did it get to a time while you were filming this that maybe you felt a little bothered by it because of what happened in the past?
Yeah. We did have a scene that we had to film. I don't want to go in a whole lot of detail about that, just because I don't want any spoilers. But there was 2 times I've had to walk away, like I needed a break.
Right, understandably so, and we could definitely leave it at that. And are you going to be? And I'm going to try my best to be at the premiere of Crickfoot.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness, I can't wait to go see it.
I have a part in Crickfoot.
Well, see, this is why I brought that up. So let's talk about Crickfoot. What are you doing in that film?
Brandy Lynn Dalton and I did our video and submitted it. I don't know how much you know about Crickfoot. And again, I don't want to like give out any spoilers, but Bone Johnson had this phenomenal idea to do this mockumentary about Bigfoot and call it Crickfoot. And it was so much fun to do because all of it was improv. There was no script. He was literally like, do what you want to do. So there's so many people that submitted so many different videos about believers, non-believers, and like found footage. And I just think it's going to be absolutely amazing. I cannot wait until next week.
This is funny because looking at the poster of the Crickfoot with the hot dogs, right? Here's some funny shit though, because I'm trying not to laugh because on because I have 2 different I have 2 different Facebook pages. We know personal and of course for the show. I have to separate my lives. This whole thing with hot dog beams is taken off like I don't understand this, but this is out of control. So the minute I saw this thing, oh, I gotta see this, and then when I met you, and it's catching fire. So have you seen all these things with the hot dog memes?
Oh yeah, yes I have.
And I try to, and I'm of that age where I don't really catch all the cool stuff that happens when it starts. But I want to say that I was there from the beginning, and I don't know, something about it. Like, they're also another terminology for hot dogs, and my wife hates it when I say it. She always hits me. Glizzies. It makes it sound even grosser. You ever heard that term?
All right, that's one I haven't heard. I have not heard that.
Yeah, glizzies. I don't know. It's somebody came up with the terminology for it. It's one of those things now. But I mean, highly entertaining. Seeing you at Crickfoot. We're talking about Blood and Breakfast and the Sabilla Six. For the listeners of Let's Find Out that want to know more about the projects that you're working on currently and in the future, those who want to learn more about Blood and Breakfast and Sabilla Six, and of course Crickfoot, where can they find this information?
A lot. Facebook. You can follow me on Facebook, Shannon Atkins. The Sabilla Six, you can follow the Sabilla Six movie. We have our own page for that. For Blood and Breakfast, you can follow Matt Burns, but you can follow Absurd Productions is where you can find the majority of the information for Blood and Breakfast. And then Crickfoot, of course, Bone Johnson and Zombie Fuel.
Excellent. And I'll ask one last question before we go. If you were to pick another subject, let's say after you're done with Sabilla Six, you take a nice vacation from it, from the stress and the long days, what subject matter would interest you covering next?
I want to do comedy.
All right. So quick change of now, is it going to be like a horror related comedy or like just straight up comedy?
It might be a horror related comedy. I've been in talks with a couple of different people, but I'd really like to do comedy.
That's all right, because I figure after doing 3 films like that, you want to really lighten up the moment for a little while. And
I'm going to actually. I'm gonna be directing 2 music videos, so that's gonna be a nice change of pace.
Hey, you just don't stop. That's awesome.
Yeah,
you got my respect for that. I'll be seeing you hopefully next weekend in the premiere of Crickfoot. And my friend, once Sabilla Six comes out and the DVDs are out and they're going to show in the theater, please come back and let's really promote this thing.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I appreciate the support and everything else. And I can't wait till it's done. I feel like most directors feel that way though. Like, let's just get this shit done. But you also don't want to push through it because you want to have a good product and you want to have a good film. But I have a lot of like I said, a great cast and crew, and then a lot of amazing supporters. Just people support every single day that have just come out of the woodwork. And I'm just like, oh, I don't even know who you are, but thank you so much.
That's awesome. Shannon, my friend, thank you so much for coming on, taking time off your very busy schedule to be on Let's Find Out with me, Diego, of course. And I hope to talk to you again definitely later this year. Yeah,
absolutely. I look forward to seeing you. You're coming to Crickfoot?
That is my plan. I'm at 99.9%. I'll be there.
Awesome. Then I look forward to seeing you.
Look forward to seeing you, my friend. This has been another excellent episode of Let's Find Out with Diego. Please check us out on all our social media, YouTube, and we're also on Rumble. Like, share, and subscribe. Which brings me to this very exciting news. Let's Find Out is now on KGRA Digital Broadcasting. Catch the show on Saturdays at 2 a.m. For more information, please visit kgradb.com. Thank you for taking this journey with me. Until next time, my friends.
Bye.
Copyright CoHostDiego. All content for Let's Find Out is the property of CoHostDiego and is served directly from our servers with no modification, redirects, or rehosting. All celebrity impersonators are paid performers. The impersonated celebrities do not endorse or promote any views or opinions expressed by our guests, CoHostDiego, or Let's Find Out. The information shared on Let's Find Out is provided on an as-is basis with no guarantees of completeness, accuracy, usefulness, or timeliness.